we know Megumi's mother died while he was still very young, as did Yuji's parents if we assume that Kenjaku also killed Jin while in Kaori's body, but we probably will never know because Gege doesn't really seem to care to tell us. Anyway, we also know the original Noritoshi Kamo was taken over by Kenjaku and became known as the most evil sorcerer in existence because of that. Fast forward to the flashback arc, where things seem nice and sweet and nostalgic, but that can't last when Gege's involved, so the person that Gojo and Geto are protecting, Riko Amanai, and her guardian Misato get offed by Toji. Just for some money. That leads to Toji himself being ended by Gojo next, and unleashing his full potential. Not long after that, Yu Haibara dies on a mission that was miscategorized with Nanami. And not long after that, 112 people in Mimiko and Nanako's village are massacred by Geto. Geto then kills his own parents. This isn't shown, but he tells Gojo it's only fair if he wants the world to be free of anyone who can't see curses. After Gojo lets him go away and Geto takes over the Star religious group, he kills the leader named Shigeru Sonoda for opposing him. This leads us to the events of Jujutsu Kaisen 0. The first major loss is Rika, when she's hit by a car in front of Yuta. After becoming a curse, the 4 bullies at the start of the film are stuffed into a locker by cursed Rika. Then we're back to Geto, still hating monkeys, so he kills his financial supporter who stopped making payments. Then there's all the victims, Jujutsu users mainly, who fought during the night parade of 100 demons. Lastly, Suguru Geto's finished off by his best friend Gojo, but his body isn't disposed of. Some time passes and we arrive at the beginning of the series as most people know it. We meet Yuji's grandpa Wasuke and lose him in the same episode. But then we get a break to meet the other first years, only to go through the horror of the detention center mission. There, a lady's son named Tadashi is found ripped in half. But it only gets worse from there when Yuji has his heart ripped out by Sukuna, so he dies temporarily, and then comes back to life through a deal. Elsewhere, 3 bullies from Junpei's school are transfigured by Mahito. Then Junpei's mother is killed by a curse drawn to Sukuna's finger, planted by Kenjaku. So of course the next victim is Junpei Yoshino himself, who's transfigured by Mahito just for fun. Moving along, there are 4 Yasuhachi Bridge victims, including Taichi Kanata, who were cursed, but it wasn't triggered until Yuji's involvement with Sukuna. Through bad luck, Eso and Kechizu are taken down by Yuji and Obara, with Megumi exercising the finger bearer on his own. To be fair though, there were 2 innocent people who died to enable Eso and Kechizu to be incarnated to begin with. At this point, Yuji's conflicted about killing those who aren't purely cursed. This is also where the number of deaths start amping up, as if to push him to get over it. Another student becomes a victim of Mahito, with Kokichi Muta, Mekamaru, losing his battle to him right before the Shibuya incident. An overconfident locust named Kogai is defeated by Yuji, followed by Hanami, ironically squashed like a bug by Gojo. That in turn causes many regular people stuck in Shibuya, too many to count to be honest, to be massacred in revenge by Jogo, Choso, and Mahito. That's right, our lovable boy Choso is a straight up murderer! A big portion of the fandom seems to just ignore that. Later on, some managers are killed by Haruta Shigemo, with Ichiji severely wounded but saved by Shoko's healing. An unfortunate curse user called Niji Abina begs for his life but isn't spared by Meimei. Then Ogami makes the grievous mistake of summoning Toji into her grandson's body, getting them both taken out by him and his heavenly restriction hacks. After a short chat with Kenjaku, the smallpox deity curse is beaten by Meimei and Yui's teamwork. But there's still more disaster curses to face. Though Dagon has the upper hand at first, it then gets soloed by Toji, who's just having fun to be honest. Likewise, the Zenin head Naobito is blasted by flames and burnt to a crisp. He technically doesn't die immediately, but later on from the severe burns, so I say it still counts. Speaking of Jogo, he gets to witness Mimiko and Naniko get slashed into pieces by Sukuna. Meanwhile, Toji Fushigoro's been on demon time and realizes he nearly killed his own son. So, as you naturally would, he stabs himself in the brain to end the seance technique. During Sukuna's playtime with Jogo, 2 of Geto's followers, Manami and Toshihisa, aren't able to escape Jogo's meteor in time. And right after that, Jogo's barbecued by Sukuna using his divine flames. There's no rest for the wicked though. When Sukuna comes to save Megumi, he ends up facing Mahoraga. And the hundreds of people caught in that fight are either blown up, dropped from buildings, or eviscerated by Sukuna's domain if they're lucky. That includes Haruta Shigemo, who lost all his miracles in his fight against Nanami earlier. Suffering from extreme burns, Nanami's unable to escape Mahito's transfiguration this time. And while Yuji and Todo fight him, the remnants of Mekamaru disappear while on a call with Miwa. This is honestly such a sad moment for the Kyoto school students. But on the bright side, Mahito tries to get help from Kenjaku by betraying him, only to be betrayed himself and absorbed through the use of curse manipulation. Not long after that, Sumiki becomes officially dead due to Kenjaku activating Yorozu's incarnation in her body. We get a little break to mourn and regroup with everyone, but it doesn't last long. Higuruma's curse technique activates, and he kills the judge for the guilty verdict on his client. We also find out Kamo's father, who was the head of his clan, was taken out by Kenjaku so that he could take control. After Yuji's execution is back on track, Yuji's temporarily killed by Yuta, who immediately uses reverse curse technique to undo it. Sadly, Masamichi Yaga is executed next by orders of the higher-ups, and it's done by Gakuganji, a fellow principal. The Zenin clan, however, isn't doing much better after Nobito's death. Mai is beaten to death by the twins' father, Ogi Zenin, so she becomes a weapon for Maki's growth and to avenge her. True to her word, the entire Zenin clan is massacred by Maki, except Megumi because he's a good dude. Their mother kills Naoya, but not in the correct way for a Jujutsu user. So that's why he comes back later as a cursed spirit. In the Star Corridor, Yuki Tsukumo faces Kenjaku and loses to him, but not before helping Choso escape. Tengen is kind of dead since the real body is taken by Kenjaku, and by the end of the series, the remains are found, but it sounds like they won't last for very long. So I count this as Tengen's demise. But really, it's kind of like Schrodinger's Tengen at this point. Then the infamous culling games begin, because Shibuya wasn't enough of a battle royale, right? An ancient Druve Lakdwala, an ancient sorcerer, is taken out by Yuta, which then activates Kuroroshi to attack him. And he kills that curse too. An ambush goes wrong and Chizuru Hari is demolished by Megumi, with the leader of those curse users, Reggie Star, taken down next. A helicopter head curse user named Haba stands no chance against soldiers who were tricked into entering the game. But even a seasoned fighter like Panda gets the two other cores inside of him destroyed by the incarnated sorcerer Hajime Kashimo. Those are his siblings, by the way, so he's an orphan now. Then Naoya, who wasn't killed properly like I mentioned, returns as a disgusting curse, only to be finished off by Maki. Foreign military casualties by the hundreds are tricked into getting involved by Kenjaku, since his game isn't as bloody as he expected. It's of course more nuanced than that, but I'm really trying to get through this quickly. He needs death and chaos to create the negative cursed energy. After finding out Sumiki isn't in control anymore, Yorozu shows her true self and faces Sukuna with not much to show for. Though we don't know the details of the victims, over 60 people chose not to participate, so they died of forced curse technique removal. It was a moral choice for some, I'm sure, but others were likely just too afraid to fight. Either way, it would have been nice to have their names or faces shown. With Sukuna nearing his completed form, he starts to let loose again. Ryu Ishigori is one of the first casualties by Sukuna. At the same time, any remaining culling game players are taken out by Kenjaku to speed up the game, and eventual merger, which never happened. But the villains aren't the only ones out for blood. All the higher-ups are eliminated, just like he considered doing in Season 1, by Gojo once he's freed from the prison realm. A big part of this decision, I think, has to do with the innocent people like Yaga being executed. As part of the training, Yuji is given the other cursed wombs to consume so that he can gain blood manipulation like Choso. In other words, his siblings were absorbed and no longer alive. If they even were in the first place, not really sure. Choso was alive, I guess, so maybe they were too. It doesn't really matter. Then the Shinjuku showdown begins, and it's on December 24th again. The strongest modern sorcerer, Satoru Gojo, is bested by Sukuna with help from Maharaga's adaptability. Ancient sorcerer Hajime Kashimo doesn't do much better with his secret curse technique. And elsewhere, curse user Iori Hazunoki can't survive Kenjaku's attacks. Back to the big battle, Choso, who has been a major help, is charred by Sukuna's domain. In order to keep Yuji alive on his end, Kenjaku's not able to avoid a finishing blow from Yuta, thanks to Takaba helping but refusing to take a life. After nearly killing everyone else involved in the showdown, Sukuna finally gets overwhelmed by Yuji and his record-setting black flashes. But he also chose to disappear rather than be pitied and back under Yuji's control. Urarame causes their own death when they find out that Sukuna lost to the Jujutsu users. But at least they meet again in Limbo, or whatever that was. And as a bonus, the head of the new Shadow Style, who was manipulating members in order to stay alive for decades, is killed by Meimei. Thanks to info from Tengen. I know I mentioned this before, but man, I'm glad they added this because we really needed this sequence in the manga. No, I'm just kidding, we didn't. I guess we could also count the shadows that Megumi lost, like the giant snake to Sukuna, or one of his demon dogs because of a finger bearer, but unlike with people, new shadows can be tamed and brought in to replace them. How does that stuff work? Well, Gege never explained it, so we'll never know. More importantly, though, Nobara didn't die after all, and despite being cut in half like Gojo, neither did Yuta. And Mahito seems trapped in between worlds because of his refusal to change, which sounds like a good punishment for him, but we still don't even know what that place is anyway. Maybe Gege doesn't hate us fans so much after all. Just kidding, he definitely does. If you guys liked the video, please let me know in the comments, and let me know if I missed any deaths. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.